Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at the top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay for cards from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s for the month of November 2023. Now, for this month, for cards from the 1950s, Mickey Mantle cards dominate the top 10 list, but it may be with cards that you may not expect. And for the fourth straight month, no 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle cards sold on eBay. For cards from the 1960s, Mickey Mantle does make an appearance, but there's some other interesting cards that made the top 10 list for that decade. And for the 1970s, George Brett cards make a big appearance, but again, there's some other high-end cards that also make the list. So, which ones did make the three top 10 lists? Let's go find out. Let's start off with the top 10 from the 1950s. Coming in at number 10, we have this 1952 Topps Willie Mays in a PSA 5. Besides being severely off-center, it's a really nice-looking copy of that 52 Topps Mays. This one sold on November 29th for $10,000. It was a best offer. The current VCP average price for a PSA 5 is $12,734. However, this particular sale did not show up in VCP's database. The record high sale for a PSA 5 was $34,800 back in April of 2022 through an REA auction. At number 9, we have this 1952 Burke Ross Mickey Mantle in a PSA 7. This one sold on November 2nd for $10,200. It was an auction. There were 34 bids. The current VCP average price is $11,966. So this sold for about $1,800 less than the current average. The record high sale was $37,777 back in March of 2022 through an eBay auction. At number 8, we have the 1958 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. Great looking card there. This one sold on November 28th for $10,725. It was an auction. There were 52 bids, and it did sell below the current VCP average price of $12,465. The record high sale for a PSA 8 was $20,048 back in September of 2022 through a memory lane auction. At number 7, we have another 52 Topps Willie Mays, also in a PSA 5, although this one has better centering than the first copy. This one sold on November 19th for $11,411. It was an auction. There were 33 bids, and this card was part of VCP's database, showing the average price at $12,734. And of course, we have that record high sale back in 2022. At number 6, we have the 1956 Topps Mickey Mantle, the grayback version in a PSA 8. Great looking card. This one sold on November 2nd for $12,103. It was an auction, 54 bids. The current VCP average price, $13,834. So again, you're seeing some of these Mantle cards sell for some pretty high prices, but below what the current average price is for those cards. The record high sale for a PSA 8 was $23,700 back in May of 2023 through a PWCC auction. At number 5, another Mickey Mantle, the 57 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. This one sold on November 28th for $13,600. It was an auction. There were 46 bids. Now, this one happened to sell pretty much right on the current VCP average price of $13,606. The record high sale for a PSA 8 was $21,600 back in February of 2023 through a heritage auction. At number 4, we have the 1953 Topps Mickey Mantle in a nice PSA 6. This one sold on November 1st for $13,900. It was an auction. There were 49 bids. This copy actually sold above the current VCP average price of $12,677. The record high sale for a PSA 6 was $19,800 back in May of 2021 through a heritage auction. At number 3, another Mickey Mantle, the 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle rookie card in a PSA 3. Man, as PSA 3s go, that is a great looking copy. The centering, perfect. Maybe slight off on the registration, but very bright, bold colors there. An overall great looking card for a PSA 3 in my opinion. This one sold on November 4th for $19,000. It was the best offer. Now again, this is a sale that eBay shows completed, but VCP did not have this sale in their database. They currently show the VCP average price for a PSA 3 of $12,949. So this sale here at $19,000 is well above the current VCP average price. However, the record high sale for a PSA 3 is a staggering $74,000 back in February of 2021 through a PWCC listing on eBay. At number 2, another 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle, this one in a PSA 5. Again, overall centering is nice. I think the picture does not do it justice. It shows like it's like really dark, maybe issues with the surface, I don't know. But overall, a really nice copy there. This one sold on November 25th for $22,800. Another best offer and another card not showing up in VCP's database. Now, they show an average price for a PSA 5 of $23,189. So this sale here, according to eBay, was right around or a little bit below the current average price, a little more in line than that previous 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle. Now, the record high sale for a PSA 5 was $55,100 back in March of 2021 through an eBay listing. And at number 1, we have another 58 Topps Mickey Mantle, this time in an 8.5. This one sold on November 19th for $22,952. It was an auction. There were 52 bids. The current VCP average price, because of the population of 8.5 graded copies, is currently $22,952. The record high for an 8.5, $28,800 back in April of 2022 through an REA auction. All right, on to the top 10 from the 1960s. At number 10, we have this 1969 Topps Reggie Jackson rookie card in a gorgeous PSA 8. This one sold on November 19th for $3,901. It was an auction. There were 50 bids, sold for about $600 above the current VCP average price of $3,344. The record high sale for a PSA 8 was $6,950, realized in March of 2021 through an eBay listing. At number 9, we have the 1969 Topps Mickey Mantle. This is the yellow letter version, and it's labeled as the Bill Hemrick Collection. This one is in a PSA 8 and sold on November 5th for $3,977. It was an auction. There were 31 bids. Current VCP average price is $3,116, so this one sold for a slight premium above the current average. The record high sale for a PSA 8 was $6,750 back in December of 2021 through a PWCC auction. At number 8, we have the 1967 Topps Tom Seaver rookie card in a PSA 8. This copy sold on November 3rd for $4,000. It was a buy it now and sold for about $500 over the current VCP average price of $3,568. The record high sale for a PSA 8 was $7,200 all the way back in October of 2016 through an REA auction. At number 7, we have this 1966 Topps Pete Rose in a PSA 9. This copy sold on November 19th for $4,328. It was an auction. There were 33 bids, and it sold for around the current VCP average price of $4,425. The record high sale for a PSA 9 was $6,500 back in November of 2021 through an eBay listing. In a PSA 9, there have been 68 graded copies. There has not been a single card graded a PSA 10. At number 6, we have another 69 Topps Reggie Jackson, also in a PSA 8. This one sold on November 27th for $4,850. It was an auction. There were 45 bids. Current VCP average price, again, $3,344, and that record high sale back in March of 2021. At number 5, we have the 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan rookie card in a PSA 9 off-center. This one sold on November 23rd for $5,500. It was a best offer. This card, this sale, was not in VCP's database. They show a current average price for a 9 off-center of $3,150. So again, a very high premium if in fact this sale did take place over the current average. The record high sale for a 9 off-center was $1 short of $8,000 back in January of 2022 through an eBay auction. Coming in at number 4, we have another 1969 Topps Mickey Mantle, last name in yellow. This happens to be a PSA 8.5. This one sold on November 4th for $9,170. It was a best offer. Another card that eBay shows as being completed, but is not in VCP's database. They show a current average price for an 8.5 of $7,447. The record high sale for a PSA 8.5 was $10,800 back in April of 2022 through an REA auction. At number 3, we have another Mickey Mantle, the 68 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 9. This one sold on November 14th for $9,410. It was an auction. There were 40 bids and sold for about $300 or so under the current VCP average price of $9,773. The record high sale for a PSA 9 was $18,830 back in December of 2021 through memory lane. In a PSA 9, there have been 183 graded copies. There have been just 11 graded a PSA 10. At number 2, we have the Carl Yastrzemski rookie card, 1960 Topps in a PSA 8.5. This one sold on November 20th for $11,500. It was a best offer. Again, another card that eBay shows has been completed but not in VCP's database. They show the current average price for an 8.5 of $7,798. So this is well above the current VCP average price and would represent a new record high sale for a PSA 8.5. The previous high sale was $10,000 back in August of 2021 through an eBay auction. And at number 1, we have another 1960 Topps. This one, the Willie McCovey rookie card in a PSA 9. This one sold on November 19th for $19,645. It was an auction. There were 54 bids, and it sold quite a bit above VCP's average price of $16,748, and this card was in VCP's database. The record high sale for a PSA 9, $48,000 back in July of 2021 through a heritage auction. Now, in a PSA 9, there are only 30 graded copies, and there is not a single PSA 10. All right, on to the cards from the 1970s. At number 10, we have the 1975 Topps George Brett rookie card in a PSA 9. This one sold on November 19th for $5,026. It was an auction, 30 bids, and sold just under the current VCP average price of $5,296. Record high sale for PSA 9, $8,562 back in July of 2021 through memory lane. In a PSA 9, there have been 321 graded copies. There have been 11 graded a PSA 10. At number 9, we have the 1971 Topps Thurman Munson, the All-Star Rookie, his second year card in a PSA 8. This one sold on November 26th for $5,100. It was an auction. There were 23 bids. Normally, auctions do make VCP's database, but this one was not in there. They show a current VCP average price for a PSA 8 at $4,207. So this one sold for about $900 over the current VCP average price. The record high sale for a PSA 8, $5,532 back in April of 2021 through eBay. At number 8, we have the 1973 Topps Mike Schmidt rookie card in a PSA 9. This one sold on November 1st for $6,200. There were 38 bids in that auction. The current VCP average price, $6,493, so sold for about $300 less than the current average. The record high sale for a PSA 9, $15,000 back in July of 2023 through PWCC auction. In a PSA 9, there have been 251 graded copies. Only 6 have been graded a PSA 10. At number 7, we have another 1975 George Brett rookie card in a PSA 9. This one sold on November 19th for $6,619. 45 bids in this auction, and this card was not in VCP's database, showing that average price of $5,296. Same population count and the record high sale back in 2021. At number 6, a 1971 Topps Jim Palmer in a PSA 9. So hard to get these 71 Topps cards in such high grades. This one sold on November 19th for $6,766. 27 bids in that auction, well above the current VCP average price of $3,622. This card was in that average, and it represents a new record high sale for a PSA 9 71 Topps Jim Palmer. The previous high, $2,605 back in March of 2021 through eBay auction. In a PSA 9, there are only 34 copies that have been graded, and only one PSA 10 exists. At number 5, we have yet another 75 Topps George Brett in a PSA 9. This copy was in VCP's database. This one sold on November 13th for $7,480 as a buy it now. Again, you have that record. It only sold for about maybe $1,100 below the record high sale back in 2021. At number 4, we have the 1971 Topps Ted Simmons rookie card, another 71 Topps example in a PSA 9. This one sold on November 26th for $7,587. 42 bids in that auction. Current VCP average price, $7,244. The record high sale for a PSA 9, $9,938 back in December of 2022 through Mile High auction. In a PSA 9, there are only 21 graded copies, and there is only one PSA 10. At number 3, we have another George Brett, but this time it's his 1976 George Brett card in a PSA 9. These 76 Bretts are so hard to find, well centered because of, I believe, where they were placed on the sheet. This one sold on November 19th for $7,745. 40 bids in that auction. This one, however, did not show up in VCP's database. They show a current average price of $8,083. So this sale would represent slightly below the current average price. The record high sale, $8,828. That actually just happened as I was doing this, so it is a new December sale, December of this year, through Mile High Auction. In a PSA 9, there have only been 31 graded copies. There has not been a single PSA 10 76 George Brett. At number 2, we have the 1975 Topps Nolan Ryan in a PSA 9. This one sold on November 19th for $8,850. 39 bids in this auction. The current VCP average price is $8,850 and represents a new record high sale. This sale was in VCP's database. The previous high was $6,301 back in June of 2021 through a PWCC listing on eBay. In a PSA 9, there have been 76 graded copies. There's been only 3 graded a PSA 10. And at number 1, we have another Nolan Ryan, another 71 Topps card, not quite a PSA 9, a PSA 8.5. This one sold on November 19th for $12,722. 40 bids in this auction. This would represent a new record high sale. It is not in VCP's database. They show a current average price of just $3,960, so it blows away what the current price is for an 8.5. I don't believe a lot of 8.5s are graded or come up for sale, but that is a huge increase in the price of that card. Again, according to eBay though, it was a completed sale. The previous high for an 8.5 was $5,150 back in May of 2021 through a PWCC listing on eBay. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay for cards from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. As always, would love to know in the comments what you think of the cards that made this month's top 10 lists. And with that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.